Answer me one thing. Where are you watching from right now? And what time is it in your country? Because if it's late, if the world around you is quiet, if your heart feels heavy for no clear reason, this message is not random. Most people will scroll past this. They won't feel it. They won't understand it. But if you stayed, it's because Allah wanted you to hear this. Let me ask you something deeply personal. Have you noticed how something in your life broke, even though you were praying for it to survive? How peace left a place you once felt safe in. How your heart became restless for no clear reason. And you keep asking yourself, why is Allah doing this to me? Listen carefully. Allah is not destroying your life. He is saving you. And the reason it hurts so much is because what He is pulling you away from was slowly destroying your soul. You didn't imagine the discomfort. You didn't overreact. You didn't become weak. This pain is not punishment. It is divine intervention. And by the end of this video, you will understand something that will change how you see your pain forever. So don't rush. Don't skip. Sit with me for a few minutes. Because what Allah is saving you from is bigger than what you are crying over. And if your heart feels like this message is speaking directly to you, that's because it is. One of the most merciful ways Allah saves a believer is not loud. It does not come with an announcement. It does not come with a warning sign. It does not come with people clapping or understanding. It comes quietly. Nothing around you changes, but peace slowly leaves your heart. Your life still looks the same from the outside. You wake up. You get ready. You go where you always go. You see the same faces. You sit in the same places. If someone asked you, "What's wrong?" you wouldn't even know how to answer, because nothing looks wrong. But inside, something feels different. You sit where you once felt safe, but now your chest feels heavy. You stay longer, hoping the feeling will pass, but it doesn't. You tell yourself, maybe I'm just tired. Maybe I'm overthinking. Maybe it's nothing. But deep inside, your soul knows something is not right anymore. You try to relax, but your body feels tense. You try to enjoy, but your heart feels distant. You try to feel normal again, but peace does not return. And this confuses you, because this place used to feel like home. These people used to feel familiar. This routine used to feel safe. So you start blaming yourself. You say, why am I like this? Why can't I be happy here anymore? Why does my heart feel uncomfortable for no reason? Listen carefully. This is not anxiety. This is not weakness. This is not ungratefulness. This is Allah touching your soul. Some places slowly harm the heart without ever hurting the body. They don't attack you suddenly. They don't break you all at once. They drain you quietly, little by little, day by day. You laugh there, but your laughter becomes empty. You smile there, but your smile becomes forced. You stay busy there, but your heart becomes dry. You don't notice it at first, because nothing painful happens. But your connection with Allah weakens slowly. Your prayers feel rushed. Your remembrance feels heavy. Your heart feels distant. And Allah loves you too much to let that continue. So He does not remove the place immediately, because if He did, you would fight to stay. You would defend it. You would make excuses for it. You would beg Allah to keep it. So Allah chooses a gentler way. He removes peace. He makes your heart uncomfortable where it once felt calm. He makes your soul restless where it once felt settled, not to hurt you, but to wake you. Because Allah knows something important. If peace stayed, you would never leave. And if you never left, your iman would slowly suffer. You would stay because it feels familiar, not because it is good for your soul. You would stay because it feels safe, not because it brings you closer to Allah. And Allah refuses to let you rot quietly. So He changes how your heart feels. You start feeling heavy for no clear reason. You feel tired even when you rest. You feel distant even when surrounded by people, and you can't explain it. That confusion itself is part of the mercy, because it forces you to reflect. It forces you to pause. It forces you to ask questions you were avoiding. You start noticing things you ignored before. The conversations that feel empty, the jokes that feel shallow, the environment that pulls you away from remembrance. You start feeling like you don't belong anymore. And that feeling hurts, because belonging feels good. Comfort feels good. Familiarity feels safe. But sometimes, what feels safe is slowly killing the soul. Allah sees what you don't. He sees the version of you that would exist if you stayed. He sees the distance that would grow between you and Him. He sees the compromises you would make, the prayers you would delay, the values you would soften, and He stops it, not by force, but by discomfort. This discomfort is not cruelty, it is mercy. It is Allah gently closing a door before it becomes a cage. You think you're losing peace, but in reality, Allah is protecting your future peace. You think something is wrong with you, but in reality, Allah is changing your direction. He is making it impossible for your soul to settle where it no longer belongs. And yes, it hurts, because leaving always hurts, because outgrowing always hurts, because change always hurts. But staying would have hurt more. Staying would have cost you yourself. So Allah whispers to your heart through discomfort. He says, "This place cannot carry you anymore. This environment cannot nourish you anymore. This chapter has reached its end." Even if your mind doesn't understand yet, your soul does. That tightness in your chest is not random. That heaviness in your heart is not meaningless. That constant feeling of something is off is not imaginary. It is guidance, silent guidance, loving guidance, painful guidance. Allah is saving you before the damage becomes permanent. He is removing peace before He removes you, because when the time comes to leave, you will not leave with anger. You will leave with clarity. You will leave because your soul already knows. And one day, when you finally step away, you will realize something that will shake your heart. The peace you were searching for did not disappear. It was waiting for you outside that place. Sometimes Allah saves you in a way that hurts more than anything you have ever felt. Not because the thing was evil, not because it was sinful, not because it was wrong, but because it slowly started taking over your heart. You didn't notice it at first. You thought it was love. You thought it was support. You thought it was comfort. You thought it was safety. And maybe, at the beginning, it was. But over time, something changed. Your heart began leaning on it, more than it leaned on Allah. You started thinking about it first. When you woke up, you started worrying about it, more than you worried about your akhirah. Your mood depended on it. Your peace depended on it. Your happiness depended on it. And that is where the danger begins, because the heart of a believer was never created to depend fully on anything other than Allah. Allah is gentle. Allah is patient. Allah gives time. So He watches quietly. He sees how attached you are. He sees how deeply your heart is tied. He sees how much space it has taken inside you. And he knows something you don't yet understand. If this attachment stays, your heart will slowly weaken. Not suddenly, not dramatically, quietly. You will still pray, but with less presence. You will still remember Allah, but with less focus. You will still say the right words, but your heart will be elsewhere. And Allah loves your heart too much to let it be owned by anything else. So He intervenes, not to punish you, not to embarrass you, not to humiliate you, but to reclaim what belongs to Him. Allah does not share the heart, so He breaks the attachment. And when Allah breaks an attachment, it feels like your chest is tearing, because you didn't just lose something. You lost what you leaned on. You lost what made you feel strong. You lost what made you feel understood. You lost what made life feel easier. And suddenly, you feel exposed. You feel empty. You feel shaky. You feel like the ground beneath you disappeared. You ask Allah, with tears, "Why would you take this from me? Why now? Why like this?" But Allah sees what would have happened if He didn't. He sees how slowly that attachment would have replaced Him, how your dua would have become weaker, how your trust would have shifted, how your heart would have forgotten where true safety comes from. Some attachments feel harmless because they don't pull you into sin, but they pull you away from reliance on Allah, and that is more dangerous. So Allah removes it. And yes, it hurts deeply, because when Allah removes something that your heart loved too much, He removes it from the root, so that you cannot go back, so that you cannot rebuild it, so that you cannot cling to it again. This is mercy, even though it feels like destruction. Allah is teaching your heart something important. That peace does not come from people. That strength does not come from situations. That safety does not come from attachments. Peace comes from Allah alone. And when that attachment is gone, Allah leaves you alone with Him. At first, this feels terrifying, because you were used to leaning on something visible, something you could touch, something you could hear. Now there is silence, and silence forces you to face Allah directly. You start making dua differently. Not fancy duas, not long duas, honest ones, broken ones. You talk to Allah because there is nowhere else to lean. And slowly, something changes. You feel closer to Allah than before. You feel more aware of Him. You feel more dependent on Him. This is why Allah removed the attachment, not to leave you empty, but to refill your heart with something purer, something stronger, something that will never leave. But before that refill happens, there is a painful gap, and that gap hurts, because healing does not feel peaceful at first. It feels lonely. It feels uncomfortable. It feels uncertain. But Allah is present in that gap, closer than you think. He is watching your heart return to Him. He is watching your trust rebuild. He is watching your reliance shift. And He is pleased, because a heart that returns to Allah after being broken is stronger than a heart that was never tested. This pain is not loss. It is realignment. Allah is putting your heart back where it belongs. There is a kind of pain that hurts more than loss. It is the pain of watching something end that you kept begging Allah to save. You didn't give up easily. You didn't walk away quickly. You didn't stop trying. You prayed. You cried. You asked Allah again and again. You stayed when it was heavy. You stayed when it was draining. You stayed when your heart was tired. You told yourself, Allah can fix this. Allah can change this. Allah can heal this. And you were right. Allah can fix anything. But sometimes He chooses not to. And that is what breaks the heart the most. Because when it ends, you don't just lose the thing. You lose the hope you had in it. You replay your du'as in your mind. You remember the nights you cried quietly. You remember the moments you believed Allah would turn it around. And now you sit there asking, why would Allah let this die when I begged Him to keep it alive? Listen carefully. Allah did not ignore your dua. Allah heard every word, every tear, every broken whisper. But Allah answers du'as in a way that protects the future, not just the present. You were asking Allah to fix what you could see. Allah was protecting you from what you could not see. Some things look good now, but carry deep pain later. Some paths feel right today, but lead to regret tomorrow. Allah sees the full picture. You only see one moment. Allah sees the ending. And sometimes the most merciful answer to a sincere dua is not yes. It is not this. That is hard to accept, because the heart says, but I loved it, but I needed it, but I believed in it. And Allah gently says, I know, and that is why I ended it. Some things cannot be repaired, not because Allah is unable, but because repair would only delay the harm. If Allah fixed it, you would stay longer. If you stayed longer, you would be hurt deeper. If you were hurt deeper, you would lose more of yourself. So Allah ends it, not suddenly, but firmly. So there is no door left open. So there is no way back. So you are forced to move forward. And that feels cruel at first, because endings feel like rejection. You start questioning yourself. Was I not sincere enough? Was my dua not strong enough? Did Allah not love me enough? But this ending has nothing to do with your worth. It has everything to do with Allah's mercy. Allah removes what your heart cannot walk away from on its own, because the heart gets attached. The heart holds on. The heart hopes even when it's being harmed. Allah knows this, so He steps in when you are too weak to step away yourself. This is divine intervention. This is Allah saying, if I leave this in your hands, you will keep hurting yourself. So He takes control. And yes, the pain is sharp, because it feels like something was ripped from you. You feel empty. You feel lost. You feel confused. You wake up and reach for it, then remember it's gone. You want to talk about it, but words feel heavy. You want answers, but silence is all you get. This silence is not neglect. It is space. Space for your heart to heal. Space for your soul to breathe. Space for Allah to rebuild you. Right now, you don't see it. All you see is what ended. But Allah sees what just began. He sees how this ending saved you from becoming smaller, from settling for less, from slowly losing your light. Some endings are not losses. They are rescues. Allah did not take something from you. He took you away from something that could not carry you forward. And one day, not today, but one day, you will thank Allah for not answering the dua the way you wanted. Because if He did, you would not be who you are becoming now. There comes a time in life when nothing is technically wrong, yet nothing feels right either. You look around and say, my life is okay. I should be grateful. Others have it worse. And still, your heart feels restless. You try to enjoy things the way you used to. You try to laugh the same way. You try to stay present. But something inside you keeps shifting. The things that once excited you feel empty now. The places that once made you feel alive feel heavy. The conversations that once flowed easily now feel forced. You start feeling strange around people you used to feel comfortable with. Not angry, not bitter, just disconnected. And this confuses you because you didn't ask for more. You didn't demand change. You weren't chasing something bigger, yet your soul refuses to settle. You tell yourself, maybe I'm just tired. Maybe I need rest. Maybe this phase will pass. But it doesn't. Because this restlessness is not physical, it is spiritual. Allah is doing something very delicate inside you. He is loosening your attachment to a life that no longer fits your soul. At one time, this place suited you. It matched your level. It matched your understanding. It matched who you were then. But you are not that person anymore. And Allah never lets a growing soul remain comfortable in a small space. If Allah allowed you to stay peaceful there, you would settle. If you settled, you would stop growing. And Allah did not create you to remain where you are. So He introduces restlessness, not chaos, not disaster, just enough discomfort to make your soul feel out of place. You start feeling like you don't belong anymore, even though nothing obvious changed. And that hurts, because belonging feels good. Familiarity feels safe. Staying feels easier than leaving. But ease is not always guidance. Sometimes ease is a trap. So Allah makes the dunya feel small, not because He hates you, but because He is preparing you. You begin to feel bored by things that once distracted you. You feel tired of shallow talk. You feel heavy after gatherings that once energized you. And slowly, you start craving something deeper. You don't even know what it is yet. You just know that what you have is no longer enough for your soul. This is not ingratitude. This is elevation beginning. Allah does this before growth, before clarity, before a higher calling, because growth always starts with discomfort. Seeds do not grow in comfort. They break first. And your soul is breaking out of a smaller life. This phase feels lonely, because not everyone around you is growing at the same speed. Not everyone understands why you feel different. Not everyone relates to your silence. So you start pulling back. You spend more time alone. You think more. You reflect more. And people may say, "You've changed." They are right, but they don't know why. Allah is reshaping your heart. He is making you uncomfortable with what no longer aligns with your purpose. If Allah did not disturb your comfort, you would remain stuck. So, He gently pushes you. You feel it in your chest. You feel it in your prayers. You feel it in your thoughts late at night. Something is calling you forward, even though you don't know where yet. That uncertainty scares the heart, because the heart likes clarity. The heart likes plans. The heart likes knowing what's next. But Allah rarely shows the next step before the heart is ready. So, He prepares you with restlessness. This restlessness is not meant to break you. It is meant to detach you from a version of life that has already served its purpose. And when the time comes, leaving will not feel sudden. It will feel necessary, because your soul already left, long before your body did. There is a kind of saving that hurts in a very different way. Nothing dramatic happens. No big argument. No clear betrayal. No loud ending. Just silence. Things stop making sense. Answers stop coming. Doors close without explanation, and you are left asking Allah, why? You don't even ask angrily. You ask tiredly, because you trusted Allah. You prayed. You tried to do things the right way. And still, Allah did not explain Himself. This is one of the hardest moments for the heart, because the heart wants clarity. The heart wants closure. The heart wants to understand. But Allah stays silent, not because He is absent, not because He doesn't care, but because He is teaching you a deeper kind of faith. If Allah explained every decision, trust would not be required. If Allah showed you the danger clearly, patience would be easy. But Allah wants your heart to believe, even when it cannot see. This kind of silence feels heavy. You replay conversations in your head. You analyze what you could have done differently. You wonder if you misunderstood Allah's signs. You ask yourself, did I miss something? Did I do something wrong? Was this my fault? And the silence continues. This silence strips the heart. It removes excuses. It removes distractions. It removes false comfort. You are left alone with Allah, and that is uncomfortable, because before, you leaned on explanations. You leaned on logic. You leaned on certainty. Now there is none. Only Allah. And that is the point. Allah is teaching your heart to trust Him without proof, to follow Him without answers, to surrender without conditions. This is not a test for beginners. This is a test for hearts. Allah wants to raise. Allah could have shown you everything. He could have explained the danger. He could have exposed what He saved you from. But He didn't, because if you saw it, your faith would be based on sight. Allah wants your faith to be based on trust. So He saves you quietly. He removes something important from your life, but leaves no explanation behind. And this hurts more than pain, because pain can be understood. Silence cannot. Silence forces the heart to decide, will you trust Allah? Even when you don't understand Him? Will you stay obedient, even when the path feels unclear? Will you remain patient, even when your heart feels lost? This is where Iman becomes real, not the Iman of words, not the Iman of habits, but the Iman of surrender. You begin to make dua differently, not asking Allah to explain, not asking Allah to prove Himself, but asking Allah to hold your heart steady. You say, Ya Allah, I don't understand this, but I trust You. I don't see the wisdom, but I believe You are wise. This is heavy, because the ego wants answers. The soul wants reassurance. But Allah is shaping something stronger inside you, a heart that does not collapse when clarity disappears, a heart that does not panic when plans fall apart, a heart that does not lose faith when silence stretches long. This kind of heart is rare, and Allah does not build it easily. This silence is not abandonment. It is training your heart to lean fully on Allah without leaning on explanations. And slowly, something shifts. You become calmer in uncertainty. You become quieter in confusion. You become stronger in silence. You stop chasing answers. You start trusting timing. You stop forcing meaning. You start surrendering outcomes. And that is when Allah begins to elevate you. Because the heart that trusts Allah without understanding Him is a heart Allah protects deeply. You may not know today what Allah saved you from, but you will know something else. Allah made your faith unshakable, and that is worth more than any explanation you asked for. There comes a day, not suddenly, not loudly, when your heart begins to understand. Nothing dramatic happens. No sign appears in the sky. No voice explains everything. You just sit quietly, and something inside you shifts. You look back at what broke you, at what ended, at what hurt you deeply. And for the first time, the pain feels different. It no longer feels sharp. It no longer feels confusing. It no longer feels unfair. It feels meaningful. You begin to see pieces you couldn't see before. You notice how tired you were back then, how heavy your heart had become, how much you were holding together just to survive. You realize how close you were to losing yourself, how much of your peace you had sacrificed, how far your soul had drifted from calm. And suddenly, a quiet truth settles in your heart. If Allah did not stop this, you would have been destroyed slowly, not physically, not openly, but inside. You would have kept smiling while breaking. You would have kept functioning while empty. You would have kept going while losing your soul. And Allah did not allow that. This realization does not come with celebration. It comes with tears, because you see how gentle Allah was with you, even when it felt harsh. You see how precise His timing was, even when it felt cruel. You see how much He protected you, even when you felt abandoned. You understand now that pain was not sent to punish you. It was sent to redirect you. That loss was not meant to reduce you. It was meant to remove what was draining you. That ending was not rejection. It was rescue. Allah was not taking something away from you. He was taking you away from something that could not carry you forward. This understanding changes how you remember the pain. You no longer see it as wasted time. You no longer see it as failure. You no longer see it as weakness. You see it as preparation. Preparation for clarity. Preparation for strength. Preparation for a version of you that could not be born without breaking first. You start thanking Allah for things you once cried over, not because they didn't hurt, but because they didn't destroy you. You realize that Allah saved you in the only way your heart would listen. If He warned you softly, you might not have moved. If He gave you signs, you might have ignored them. So He allowed pain. Not endless pain, not meaningless pain, but controlled pain, just enough to wake you, just enough to detach you, just enough to move you forward. And now, you are still standing, wiser, kitter, stronger. Your heart is more careful now. Your trust is deeper. Your relationship with Allah is more honest. You no longer beg for everything to stay the same. You ask Allah to keep what is good for your soul and remove what is not, even if it hurts. That is growth. That is healing. That is Allah's protection becoming visible. You realize that Allah did not promise a life without pain. He promised guidance through it, and He kept His promise. You were not forgotten. You were being guarded, even in moments where you cried alone, even in nights where your chest felt heavy, even when you didn't understand why things collapsed. Allah was closer than you thought, closer in the pain than He would have been in comfort. And this realization settles gently in your heart. If Allah allowed it to hurt, it is because what He saved you from was far more dangerous. Before this video ends, I want you to remember something. At the beginning, I asked you where you were watching from and what time it was in your country. Now you know why. Allah does not speak to hearts randomly. He speaks when the heart is finally quiet enough to listen. You were not watching this video by chance. You were guided here. Everything you've been feeling lately, the heaviness, the restlessness, the silent pain, it wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to save you. Allah didn't take something from you to make you empty. He removed it because it was standing in the way of the peace He is preparing for you. And yes, what you went through hurt. But look at you now. You're still standing, still breathing, still believing. That alone is proof. Allah never left you. One day, and that day is closer than you think. You will look back at this exact moment, this exact time, this exact place, and you will whisper with tears in your eyes, Ya Allah, you were protecting me the whole time. If your heart feels calm right now, even just a little, that's Allah reassuring you. If your chest feels lighter, that's Allah comforting you. And if tears came to your eyes, that's Allah cleaning your heart. Don't rush away from this feeling. Sit with it. Let Allah finish what He started inside you. And before you leave, make a quiet dua, not for everything to be easy, but for Allah to keep guiding you, even when it hurts. Because when Allah guides you through pain, He is preparing you for something that comfort could never build. May Allah replace every loss with something purer. May He replace every tear with peace. And may He never let your heart attach to anything that pulls you away from Him. Amen. And if this message touched your heart, carry it with you. Allah is not done with your story, not even close.